is the Director, Indian Institute of Social Science and Business Management, to please come on dais, sir, and take your seat along with our President, Professor Renewable Majumdar. He is also requested to join with Dr. Agarwal, please. Next, I will request another guest of honor. Institute of Social Welfare. Institute of Social Welfare. Next, Sri Deval Roy, IFS, a former Principal Secretary, Department of Forest, Government of West Bengal, is also requested to come. Dr. S.P. Chaudhuri, another our guest of honor. Actually, what I would say, he is master in all subjects, but now he is an expert consultant and expert advisor on different topics. So, with the permission of the chair, we are going to start the program. First of all, I would request Ashwati to give a flower bouquet and sorry. Dr. Vishwajit Mukherjee, please come on dais. And Ashish Datta Chaudhuri, he also come. Take a seat. I'm actually Kobi Bose Babatana, disturb me. A small lemon flow along with flower bouquet, please hand over to our guest of honor, Dr. K. Agarwal. ওটা একটা ছোট্ট স্নেক আছে, you can see it, no problem, good one. Now I will request to hand over the same thing to our another guest of honor, Sri Deval Roy, IFS. Next, Dr. S.P. Chaudhuri, another guest of honor. Next, our beloved President, Professor Renewable Majumdar. And next, Dr. Vishwajit Mukherjee, Vice President of IPHE India. Next, Ashish Datta Chaudhuri, Secretary of IPHE India.
I would like to request Bhashwati to give the same memento and felicitation to our Kolkata Center Secretary as well as the Secretary of the IPHE Council 2025-27.
Thank you, Ashish. আমরা প্রোগ্রামটা একটু স্লাইড অদল-বদল করে নিচ্ছি with the permission of the chair, of course. So, actually, Dr. S.P. Chaudhuri, he has another meeting at 7:30. So he has to leave, and he requested. So on his request, I would request, please come, Dada, apni asun. You start today's program.
Good evening. Respected President of the program and IPHE, my good friend Professor Arunamundar, other dignitaries, I find Mr. Devalrai, Mr. Agarwal, and other officials of IPHE here, and a lot of my good friends. So I was telling my one of my research scholar, Dr. Richie Ghosh-Thakur, you'll see all the old people here when you come, because we were all working together once upon a time. So it's a good. I congratulate you first that you have taken a very good initiative to celebrate the World Environment Day today. It was on 5th of June, but it's a week. So week-long program on 9th of June today. You are celebrating that. So I thank you very much for taking initiative towards protection of the environment. So as you know, our biggest challenge now is the climate change in the environmental science, and how we protect that, how we reduce climate change, how we can arrest climate change. That is the biggest question today. And as you know, the climate change is mainly due to the emission, and the emission, again for emission, the main responsible greenhouse gas is the carbon dioxide. And the carbon dioxide we are emitting from our thermal power plants. So in one word, the main culprit for the climate change and the global warming is the carbon dioxide emission from thermal power plant. Though there are other issues like methane emission from agriculture sector and the transport sector, the carbon dioxide emission and other things are also there. So the energy plays a very vital role in managing our environment, which is being hijacked by many people, but energy plays an important role, how we produce the energy and how we go for energy. As you know, we depend mostly on thermal power plant, the coal-based thermal power plant, and we are emitting lot from the thermal power plant. In India, we depend almost 62% on thermal power plant, and the story of West Bengal is totally different. We depend 95% on thermal power plant. The emission level is very, very high in West Bengal. And there is a small coal lobby also in West Bengal, which is playing that we have enough coal. With the earlier government also, I argued several times that you are all mentioning about Deucha Pachami, but Deucha Pachami 100 years, it was announced that 100 years there is no problem of coal, but that is not the example of a sustainable development. Yes, we have coal in Deucha Pachami, but we should not depend on coal. Gradually we have to shift, and we have to decouple this fossil fuel consumption from the development activities gradually. Then it is called sustainable development. So, but we need energy for our development activities. There is no doubt in it. How we maintain these development activities. So, we gradually need to shift from the fossil fuel based technology, fossil fuel based energy generation to the non-fossil based energy generation gradually. And as you know, the UN has declared 2070 as the net zero target. So in next say 45 years or so, we need to shift to zero emission by next 45 years time. So we should have a concrete plan. And the renewable energy here plays an important role, which are not really polluting the nature. In the renewable, there are many types of renewable energy, as you know. The solar energy, wind energy, bioenergy, and geothermal energy, OTEC, a lot of renewable energy sources. I'm working in this field for last 40 years almost. So there are a lot of renewable energy sources, but out of all renewable energy sources, solar energy appears to be most popular. It was discovered by Edmund Becquerel in 1839, but it was not used. In first time 1956, when he sent the Vanguard satellite in the space, Russian, they sent it, they first used the solar photovoltaic cell for powering the satellite. But now the story is totally different. Now the world is totally depending on the solar energy and its derivatives. So, you see, in India now, we have almost 1,40,000 megawatt of solar power installation. 1,140,000 megawatt. It's huge. So our potential of solar energy is 900,000 megawatt. And our Prime Minister, he has declared in Glasgow Convention, as you know, that UN conference, where he has declared in presence of almost 200 countries that India will generate 500 gigawatt, that is 500,000 megawatt of power from non-fossil by the year 2030. As you know, we initiate in the country, the West Bengal, you must be very happy to know, the state of West Bengal was once upon a time pioneer in the application of solar energy. We first did the 2 megawatt grid connected project in Asansol, first time 2009. And we electrified the entire Sundarbans with solar renewable energy. That was a long back, it's a history. But gradually we are now lagging behind. We have to go very fast now to catch up with the total target of the country. So the solar energy program, we have given a lot of, the country has given a lot of emphasis because Prime Minister has declared out of this 500 gigawatt or 500,000 megawatt, 300,000 megawatt should come from solar. How we do it? This 300,000 megawatt will be done by all the states. And West Bengal is also one of the states, who will be doing this solar energy program in the country. Prime Minister has 4 programs. You are all engineer, I know. These 4 programs, one program is very popular, which is called PM-Surya Ghar program. Now, this PM-Surya Ghar program, you can, or CS area or WSCDCL area in the rooftop, you can put up to 3 kilowatt solar power plant, you get 78,000 subsidy. Your total cost is about 1,60,000 rupees. Chandan Sengupta is not here today, I find. He is one of your members. He has just started to put up a 8 kilowatt solar power plant in his roof. So you'll get 78,000 subsidy and your electricity bill will come down like anything. Maybe your electricity bill will be 0 and you get the payback in 4 years' time. Recently, only 5th June, I was in Gujarat Ramkrishna Mission where we have set up a 20 kilowatt solar power plant. So their electricity bill, yesterday we were calculating, it will be negative. It will be negative. They will keep the balance in the electricity consumption. So this is a very popular program. 1 crore rooftop solar power system, solar Surya Ghar program, that has to be completed by the year 2030, and we are going very fast. State of West Bengal is slow rather, but in UP, every day 900 houses are being electrified with solar, every day. So think about the program, how it is going on. So in West Bengal also, CESC is very active now, aggressive. They are doing this program. I would request everyone here, most of you are residing in Salt Lake area or Newtown area. If you have your own house or even in a complex, you must use PM-Surya Ghar program to avail the subsidy, not only subsidy, to keep your commitment towards protection of the environment and also to get financial benefit from the distribution companies. That is one. Second program, which is also very important, PM-KUSUM program. Prime Minister KUSUM program is for the farmers of India, where they can put up 35 lakhs solar pumps will be put up for irrigation and conversion. The existing diesel pump or electric pump will be converted. Total 35 lakhs pump. By the year 2030, you have to complete that program. And in addition, if they have got additional land, they can put up a 2 megawatt power plant. Up to 2 megawatt farmers can put up. They can export power to the grid. They can earn money in addition to their income from agricultural land. So this is also a major program of the country. 35,000 megawatt of power is to be generated from the PM-KUSUM program. Third program is very important. You will be very happy that India is becoming almost a leader in the whole world. This is solar park program. All these programs we are doing for reduction of emission to protect the environment, for which we are here today. We are discussing this issue. So that is a solar park program under which a big land is taken over, and that is developed by the government. The infrastructure, the power line, evacuation system, water line, water distribution system, then internal roads and other things. And the private investors, they are requested to invest money there, and they generate power. Maybe 2,000 megawatt, 1,000 megawatt solar park program are coming up. they will sell power to the distribution company. They are selling power at a fixed rate, maybe through competitive bidding, maybe now 3 rupee per kilowatt hour or 2 rupee 90 paisa per kilowatt hour. And you will be very happy to know that in Kutch area of Gujarat, the world largest solar park is coming up, though wind is also there, 30,000 megawatt, one single power plant with airport facility, another thing, 30,000 megawatt. 60% work is already over. So India is becoming gradually leader of the whole world in this sector. So the things are very good now, as it appears, because Prime Minister has taken a lot of initiative. The fourth program is very important for public health engineers, that is we call DRE program, Distributed Renewable Energy Program. So in Distributed Renewable Energy Program, we can set up smart toilet in remote areas. So you are totally connected with that. In smart toilets, the toilet can, there may not be electricity, that can get electricity light through daylight, in various schools we are putting up. Schools are generally during daytime, the capturing sunlight, and then solar pump is giving water. Professor Mojumdar knows a lot of programs like that has been taken up by DST, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, through IITs and through many institutions who are doing all these innovative projects. Then solar cold storage program, 5-ton, 10-ton solar cold storage for potatoes and other things in remote areas where there is no electricity. Then, solar atta chakki program, and lot of other small solar power plant program. All these things are coming for remote areas. Recently, we have developed a vending machine for the girl students, the sanitary napkin vending machine for the girl students. 1,25,000 schools. Supreme Court has given a verdict that in all schools, there should be a sanitary napkin vending machine. And 1,25,000 schools, they don't have any electricity now. You see, 5 lakh schools, they have electricity but very erratic. So you can't give vending machine there because with erratic power. A solar power based machine has been developed, and the proposal under a project, and a big project proposal has been submitted to, or being submitted to IRIDA, so that they can support the program throughout the country. We can set up this type of project. So these are all things you may not be aware. All these things, all these popular programs are going on in the whole country. Now you have to take part also. You have to take part in this program. Now the point is, now in this situation, what we can do, we need for the state of West Bengal, since it is lagging, we need to have a very good policy for the solar power program, for execution of solar power program. Wherever you are, you can influence maybe through your institution, maybe through your water purification system. That is also another program. Wherever there is no potable water, you can purify the water. Recently, we have done one project in Paduldanga School of the Santiniketan area, where we have given water purification through solar energy for the students. So that is also there. So this type of programs we have to promote as much as we can do, and that will not only promote use of solar energy, but indirect way you are protecting the environment, indirect way you are reducing the emission, and you are keeping a livable world for the future generation. So that type of thing, we need to do. I am very hopeful that new government in the state of West Bengal, they will take up this program. Already I had a discussion with the advisor, with Mr. Subrata Gupta. In this respect, he is the advisor to Chief Minister. He is very keen to take up this program also, and I am sure this government, this program was stagnant almost, this renewable energy program. Now this government will take up the program, and again the state of West Bengal, like many other energy. Another information just I will give you. The first hydropower plant of the whole Asia was installed in the state of West Bengal, in Darjeeling district, in Sidrapam. It was 1897. So West Bengal, in many respects, it was leader. In solar energy also it was leader. But somehow it is now backbencher. Now we all need to promote the program, and through our own resources, own influence, and other institutional mechanism. So I would request all the engineers that future is for solar energy, clean energy, and we should keep the environment neat and clean, and we should reduce the emission. Our ultimate goal is to protect the mother earth so that, we can keep a livable world for the future generation. So again, I congratulate you for celebrating the World Environment Day, the engineers, PhD engineers here, so that, you are also giving the message to the future generation that yes, we are also part, though we are aged people, but we are also part of the program to protect the mother earth. Thank you very much for patient hearing. Thank you.
Oh, no, actually, so our slide schedule change kore. Anyway, for your busy schedule, we have rescheduled. We have to start again from our starting end. Anyway, let us start the original program as per given schedule. First of all, I would request Dr. Vishwajit Mukherjee, Vice President of IPHE India, to give welcome address. Please come. Program has been changed due to Dr. Chaudhuri. He told me he will leave, just get you on that. Okay. Yes, sir.
শুভ সন্ধ্যা। ইনস্টিটিউশন অফ পাবলিক হেলথ ইঞ্জিনিয়ার্স এর তরফ থেকে মঞ্চে উপবিষ্ট সম্মানিত অতিথিগণ, উপস্থিত অভ্যাগতবৃন্দ এবং আমার বন্ধুরা, সবাইকে শুভেচ্ছা এবং অভিনন্দন জানিয়ে আজকের অনুষ্ঠানে সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি। পরিবেশ দিবস আমরা জানি 5ই জুন, কিন্তু আজকে আমরা পরিবেশ দিবসটা 9ই জুন করতে চলেছি। কারণ হচ্ছে 5ই জুন এবং 6ই জুন আমাদের এই ইনস্টিটিউশন ইঞ্জিনিয়ার্সের আলাদা দুটো পরিবেশগতভাবেই পরিবেশ নিয়েই কতগুলো দুটো প্রোগ্রাম ছিল, মানে সেমিনার ছিল, যার জন্য আমরা সেটা করে উঠতে পারিনি। সেই জন্য আজকে 9 তারিখে আমরা এই অনুষ্ঠানটা করতে, এই পরিবেশ দিবসটা পালন করছি আজকে 9 তারিখে। তো এই বছর পরিবেশ দিবসের স্লোগানটা হচ্ছে ইন্সপায়ার্ড বাই নেচার, ফর নেচার, ফর ক্লাইমেট, অর্থাৎ প্রকৃতি দ্বারা অনুপ্রাণিত, প্রকৃতির জন্য এবং জলবায়ুর জন্য। এই মূল ভাবনাকে আমরা রেখে এই আজকে সমাবেশে আয়োজন করা হয়েছে এবং আপনাদের সবাইকে এই অনুষ্ঠানে স্বাগত জানাতে পেরে আমি অত্যন্ত আনন্দিত। প্রকৃতি সর্বদাই আমাদের সর্বশ্রেষ্ঠ শিক্ষক। বনের সহনশীলতা থেকে শুরু করে বাস্তুতন্ত্রের ভারসাম্য এবং নবায়নের অন্তহীন চক্র পর্যন্ত পৃথিবীর সমস্ত কিছুই প্রকৃতি আমাদের সম্প্রীতি, অভিযোজন এবং স্থায়িত্বের শিক্ষা দেয়। আজ যখন আমরা অভূতপূর্ব জলবায়ুগত চ্যালেঞ্জের মুখোমুখি, তখন এই শিক্ষাগুলো আগের চেয়ে অনেক বেশি গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। এই অনুষ্ঠানটিতে এমন সব ব্যক্তিদের একত্রিত করে যারা একটি অভিন্ন দৃষ্টিভঙ্গি পোষণ করে এবং এমন এক ভবিষ্যতের স্বপ্ন দেখায় যেখানে মানব অগ্রগতি এবং পরিবেশগত দায়িত্ববোধ হাতে হাত মিলিয়ে চলবে। আপনি গবেষক, নীতি নির্ধারক, শিক্ষাবিদ, শিক্ষার্থী, উদ্যোক্তা বা পরিবেশ কর্মী যেই হন না কেন, এখানে আপনার উপস্থিতি একটা ইতিবাচক পরিবর্তন আনার জন্যই আপনার অঙ্গীকারকে প্রতিফলিত করছে। আমাদের মূল ভাবনাটি আমাদের মনে করিয়ে দেয় যে কেবল অনুপ্রেরণায় যথেষ্ট নয়, আমাদের অবশ্যই অনুপ্রেরণাকে কর্মে রূপান্তরিত করতে হবে এবং এমন কর্ম যেটা আমাদের প্রাকৃতিক সম্পদ রক্ষা করে, পরিবেশগত পদচিহ্ন হ্রাস করে এবং জলবায়ু পরিবর্তনের বিরুদ্ধে আমাদের সম্মিলিত প্রতিক্রিয়াকে শক্তিশালী করে। প্রতিটি প্রচেষ্টা তা যতই ছোট হোক না কেন ভবিষ্যৎ প্রজন্মের জন্য একটা স্বাস্থ্যকর পৃথিবী করতে অবদান রাখে। আসুন আমরা প্রত্যেকে একটি করে গাছ লাগাই, জল ও বিদ্যুৎ সাশ্রয় করি এবং পরিবেশ সংরক্ষণে সচেতন ভূমিকা পালন করি। আমি সকলকে আলোচনায় সক্রিয়ভাবে অংশগ্রহণ করতে এবং খোলামেলাভাবে ধারণা বিনিময় করতে এবং সহযোগিতার সুযোগ খুঁজতে উৎসাহিত করছি। আমরা একসাথে প্রকৃতি থেকে শিখতে পারি, প্রকৃতির জন্য কাজ করতে পারি এবং জলবায়ুর জন্য পদক্ষেপ নিতে পারি। এখানে উপস্থিত থাকার জন্য এই গুরুত্বপূর্ণ উদ্যোগে আপনাদের নিষ্ঠার জন্য সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ। আমি আপনাদের জন্য একটি ফলপ্রসূ, অনুপ্রেরণাদায়ক এবং প্রভাবশীল অনুষ্ঠানের কামনা করি। স্বাগতম এবং আসুন আমরা সবাই একটা টেকসই পৃথিবীর, ভবিষ্যৎ পৃথিবীর দিকে যাত্রা শুরু করি। জয় হোক প্রকৃতির, জয় হোক সবুজ পৃথিবী। ধন্যবাদ।
ধন্যবাদ আমাদের বিশ্বজিৎ মুখার্জিকে সুন্দর বক্তব্য রাখার জন্য, সুন্দর এবং সংক্ষিপ্ত বক্তব্য রাখার জন্য। নেক্সট ইজ introduction and objectives of the conference, rather 2026. এটা তো আমাকেই বলার দায়িত্ব রয়েছে। It is a matter of great honor and privilege for me to highlight introduction and objectives of World Environment Day 2026. The theme for World Environment Day on 5th June 26 will focus on climate action, renewable energy expansion, and sustainability, hosted by the Republic of Azerbaijan in Baku, uniting the world around urgent action on climate change. World Environment Day, also called WET, has been started celebrating as an annual event on every 5th of June since 1973 in order to raise the global awareness about the importance of the healthy and green environment in the human lives, to solve the environmental issues by implementing some positive environmental actions, as well as to make aware common public worldwide that everything is responsible for saving his environment and not only somebody, government or organizations working for it. World Environment Day was first established to be celebrated every year by running some effective campaigns by the United Nations General Assembly and United Nations Environmental Program UNEP in the Conference on Human Environmental began from 5th to 16th June at United Nations in 1972. It was first time celebrated in 1973 with the particular theme Only One Earth. Since 1974, the celebration campaign of the World Environment Day is hosted in different cities of the world. It is a big annual celebration started by the United Nations General Assembly to engage millions of people from different countries across the globe, as well as draw attention of political and health organizations to implement some effective actions. World Environment Day, which Baku will host on 5th June 2026, is the largest global platform for environmental engagement and action established by the UN General Assembly in 1972. The day inspires and is celebrated by millions of people across the world who participate in online and in-person activities and events around the world aimed at accelerating environmental progress for people and planet. With Azerbaijan as hosts, World Environment Day 2026 will focus on climate change. Like almost every corner of the earth, Azerbaijan is facing devastating impacts of climate change and environmental degradation. To fend off these challenges, World Environment Day fills the world with millions of reasons for hope, said Mukhadar Babea, the Minister of Ecology and Natural Resources of the Republic of Azerbaijan and COP29 President-designate. Azerbaijan is set to host a landmark US climate change conference in November, almost double our renewable energy sources by 2030, grow forests and reach zero waste through state-of-the-art facilities. Hosting World Environment Day is a natural choice grounded in our solidarity for a green world. Recent years have seen nations working closer than ever to address the triple planetary crisis of climate change, nature and pollution and waste. The UN Climate Change Conference COP28 saw countries agree to new commitments on renewable energy, efficiency and methane amongst others, as well as signal the end of the fossil fuel era. The UN Biodiversity Conference COP15 in 2022 ended with the landmark Global Biodiversity Framework, which is now being implemented to halt and reverse nature loss by 2030. And the world adopted a historic treaty to protect life in the high seas. Government, businesses, civil society, and people across the world are calling for change from ending the fossil fuel era to restoring degraded nature, reducing pollution, and demanding the right to a healthy environment, said Mr. Anderson. World Environment Day is a platform to bring global action together, and I look forward to working with the Republic of Azerbaijan to drive progress on the climate crisis through World Environment Day 2026. What is the basic objective? World Environment Day annual celebration campaign was started to address the huge environmental issues like wastages and losses of food, deforestation, increasing global warming, and so many. Every year celebration is planned according to the particular theme and slogan of the year to bring effectiveness in the campaign all through the world. It is celebrated to successfully get carbon neutrality, focusing on the forest management, reducing greenhouse effects, promoting biofuel production by planning on degraded lands, use of hydropower to enhance electricity production, encourage common public to use solar water heaters, energy production through solar sources, developing new drainage systems, promoting coral reefs and mangroves restoration in order to get prevented from flooding and erosion, including other ways of environmental preservation. Some of the objectives of the World Environment Day campaigns are: it is celebrated to make aware the common public about the environmental issues, encourage common people from different society and communities to actively participate in the celebration as well as become an active agent in developing environmental safety measures. Let them know that community people are very essential to inhibit negative changes towards the environmental issues. Encourage people to make their nearby surroundings safe and clean to enjoy safer, cleaner and more prosperous future. Variety of activities are planned to celebrate these great events in different countries to encourage more people towards the celebration. Various news channels take part very actively in the celebration to cover the news and distribute messages about the celebration among common public through their news publications to bring effective and positive changes towards the environment to solve all the environmental issues. Some of the national and international level activities include street rallies, tree plantation, garbage recycling, surrounding areas, cleanup parades, and so many activities in order to draw people's attention towards wide range of environmental issues as well as bring difference. People of all age groups actively involved during the celebration to save their planet in original form as gifted by the nature. Especially modern day youth usually take part in the celebration through many activities such as cleanup campaigns, art exhibitions, motivating people for tree planting, dance activities, recycling garbage, film festivals, community events, essay writing, poster competitions, social media campaign, and lot more. Many awareness campaigns are also run at schools, colleges, and other educational institutions to motivate students towards their environmental safety. The celebration takes place at national and international level by organizing various activities in the public places to aware common public about the real causes of environmental status, degradation, as well as let them know what steps should be taken to solve their such environmental issues. As Mahatma Gandhi famously said, "Earth provides enough to satisfy even man's need, but not every man's greed." Let us embrace the principle of sustainability, stewardship, and harmony with nature on World Environment Day 2026 and beyond. Our planet's well-being depends on it. Namaskar. Thank you. Hola. Yes. Now I would request Dr. K.M. Agarwal, Director, Indian Institute of Social Welfare and Business Management, which is busy schedule. He always, when we call him, he always will maintain with us. Now I request you, Dr. Agarwal, please. We are waiting for your valuable comments, suggestions, and whatever.
Thank you, Tarunda. Respected Dr. S.P. Chaudhuri, respected Sri Deval Ray, respected Professor Dr. Aruna Majumdar, Engineer Brinal Kanti Viswas, our beloved Tarunda, and other officials of IPHE, and distinguished guests, and my dear friends. As Tarunda has already mentioned about the objectives of celebrating the World Environment Day, we all are fully aware that now the environment is not a luxury which we used to consider, say, the 2-3 decades back. It has become the necessity. In all sphere of the life, in our day-to-day activity, we feel that there are a lot of, you can see, the changes is happening. And as Professor Gan Chaudhuri has already rightly mentioned, the one of the root cause is the indiscriminate emissions, although he has highlighted the contribution of coal-based thermal power plant, which are, you can say, the contributing to the major amount of the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. As a result, we all are aware that level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has exceeded more than 400 ppm. Every year, millions and the billion tons of the carbon dioxide and the other greenhouse gases. As we all know that, we consider the 6 basic greenhouse gases are the prime greenhouse gases. And out of these 6 greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide is the major greenhouse gas. And this year, the theme of the World Environment Day celebration, which today we are commemorating, is the urgent action for climate change. Because we have already realized that we all are here, you can say, the more than 50 years of age in general. And we have felt that because if I take my own example, when I came to Calcutta 3 decades back from the Madhya Pradesh, we used to hear that the temperature in the Bengal, especially in the Calcutta, I will not say the Bengal because there are the few zones in the pockets in the Bengal, never rise beyond the 38 degrees Celsius. Because my native place is Madhya Pradesh, central India, where we used to experience above 40 degrees Celsius temperature, around 42, 43. And when we came here, our parents used to say that you are going there where the temperature is not exceed, but ultimate, you can say that discomfort index is definitely high. I'm not talking about that because the humidity is very high. And now that in the most of the places, if I say not scientifically, unscientifically, the temperature has risen more than 4 to 5 degrees Celsius. In Calcutta, we are experiencing 44, 45. I'm not talking about the scientific value, but I'm talking the rough estimate. In my hometown, I came today morning only, I came back today morning. There, I find that the temperature is 46, which used to be, say, the 2-3 decades back when we were the research scholar in the Maharashtra, like we were in the Nagpur Niri, and there we used to feel the 46, 47 degrees Celsius temperature. That is now happening in the most part of the country. So what I mean to say that we are here, the very, very experienced public health engineer, and this, so we have to, as it has been highlighted by our respected Professor Dr. Chaudhuri sir, that we need to, we can say, advocate to the extent possible renewable energy. And when we talk about the renewable energy, definitely the prime, can say, what we are talking about, the solar. And he has already given the insight of the 4 scheme. But as he has mentioned, I'm going to request him, sir, if you can find some time, even in our institute, we are planning for the 100 this kilowatt solar this thing. But for the last 4-5 years, we are trying that which scheme will be suitable, which modus operandi, because as you know, the academic issue, the fund is also constrained. So I was thinking that if he can guide us, definitely because of the government change, now a lot of things will, because we have gone for the RESCO model, we could not success because the kind of, can say, the agreement they are desiring, that the 30-year agreement, the tariff will be increasing, say the 2% every. So those are the conditions which really makes us, can say, to take away that particular proposal and really, can say, make it shift towards the greener economy or the greener mechanism. So what my humble, you can say, the request to all of you, because the first thing is that what we have to change our lifestyle. We have to have the consumption pattern such which will be generating the least waste, and then so that we can go for the circular economy. Whatever even the waste is generated, it can be recycled and reused. So we have, as a responsible citizen, we have a lot of responsibility in terms of the reworking out our consumption pattern, and then whatever the waste is generated, that waste also has to be properly, you can say, segregated and properly disposed of. Definitely, where the government has to take a lot of initiative to develop the infrastructure. We heard that in the number of wards, the segregation facilities have been installed, but once the segregated waste is coming to the bins, automatically it is going into the same place. So the whole objective of the segregating the waste, because we do not have the next step ready, that suppose if we have segregated the waste, where the plastic should go, where the paper should go, where the other material should go, whether the organic matter should go, and if the organic matter have been separated, whether that particular our composting plant is operational, which is economically viable or not. So many, you can say, the issues comes in. So now we have to, as a public health engineer, we have to see that how we can operationalize the circular economy, how we can say, achieve the zero waste. And similarly, like we are talking about the net zero. We are talking about the net zero in context of the carbon emission. So if we have to talk about the net zero, it does not mean like usually sometimes we interpret it that emission will be zero. Emission will be more or less similar. I'm not saying similar. To the extent possible, we can always minimize. But the thing is, whatever we are consider the emission we are consider making, more than that we have to arrange for the shrinkage. We have the very, very eminent expert, Sri Deval Rayaji. We will definitely look forward that how really we can, definitely we are talking about deforestation, we are talking about the green belt development, but what kind of the species will, suppose we have the limited resource. The MOEF and CC is giving the restriction, the norms, that the 33% of the land for the industrial development you have to dedicate for the green belt development. And what we have experienced in our, the 30-year working with the industry, that the green belt is developed, but whether this green belt is the scientific at the right place, right kind of the species, which will have the maximum potential to not only absorb the carbon dioxide, but also we have to see that what is the nature of the pollutant which is coming from that particular industrial activity, because that plant need to be survived. So when we talk about the green belt development, it is not only planting the X number of the trees and then maintaining, but selecting the right kind of the species, which will be not only increasing the aesthetic view, not only restoring the ecological balance, but also it will act as a very good sink for the emissions, including the carbon dioxide emissions, which is likely to come from the proposed plant. And at the same time, we have to also see that when we are talking about the zero liquid discharge, that what is the maximum amount of the partially treated wastewater which can be used for that particular green belt. And then what is the generation, like what I wanted to hear mentioned, like we feel that when we are planting the tree, we are planting the tree for maintaining the ecological balance, so oxygen balance can be maintained. It's not that, but the scientific plantation of the trees will definitely lead to enhance the environmental integrity of that particular area, whether we talk about in terms of the acting as a sink for air pollution, attenuating the noise pollution, utilizing the partially treated wastewater, which will ultimately lead to the the zero liquid discharge, zero emission, which will ultimately lead to the improving the ecological footprint. It will be leading to the improving the overall your ecological footprint or the environmental footprint of that particular production activity. And similarly, when we are talking about the the urgent action for the climate change, then we have the certain other related issues beside the the thinking for operationalizing the circular economy, or the having the switching over from the your conventional fuel to the cleaner fuel, as Professor Chaudhuri has rightly mentioned. We have to have the more and more use of renewable energy. So what here I wanted to hear, that this mention, it does not mean that when you are switching over to the renewable energy, you should generate your own renewable energy. You can have the tie-up with the the other stakeholder who are generating, but you commit that you will not go for your conventional energy, which is generated from the fossil fuel, but you will be having the linkage with the other stakeholder who are generating the renewable energy, maybe from the solar, maybe from the wind, or maybe the other sources, and then you take that. So there are the number of the corporate which have the switch over 100% to the renewable energy, but again we are not interpreting that they are generating and consuming, but they are only dependent on the renewable energy sources. So these are some of the issues which can definitely reduce our environmental footprint, reduce our carbon emission, and then definitely we have to also look for certain adaptation measures. So we have to find out the various ways and means. If suppose now earlier what I was mentioning in the Bangalore with Kolkata, we never used to get the 40-degree temperature and beyond. Now if we have to face the 44, 45 degree, it does not mean that we'll only install the air conditioning system. Now we have the various other natural ways to cool down and to minimize the impact of temperature. So those kind of the adaptation, maybe we can have the whole architect of our own house in such a way that through the nature we can have the minimum heating of the your building, like we call it the green building. I'm sure that you all are aware of that. I'm not going in the detail of it, but only I want to just put this as a bullet point, that these are the certain area when we are talking about the urgent, the actions for the climate change at an individual. What are the various, the actions we can plan for, and we can go for the implementation maybe as individual, maybe as a society, maybe as an industry, and then we can minimize the impact on the climate change. So with these few, we can say the words, I conclude my can say the discussion. And once again, I thank the entire IPHE team for organizing such wonderful event and having the such a can say the erudite experts and the not only the expert on the dais but of the dais for this particular can say the live debate on this can say the issue, which is not only the can say the exercise of the academic nature or the in the nature of the research, but we all are concerned directly or the connected with directly for these issues. With this, once again, I express my sincere thanks to IPHE for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts, and also express my thanks to all the eminent audience who has spared their valuable time to be with us this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal. We have nicely highlighted the more relevant issues considering renewable energy and other deforestation and all related issues. Thank you once again. Now I would request Sri Deval Roy, IFS, former Principal Secretary, Department of Forest, Government of West Bengal, to give the theme speech of today's program. Please.
সময় হয়ে গেলে একটু মনে করিয়ে দেবো
সময় নেই স্পিকারের সব রকম সময় আলাদা
থ্যাংক ইউ গুড আফটারনুন রাদার গুড ইভিনিং আমি এমনিতেই শুনতে পাবেন তাই তো ইটস এ স্মল হল বাট এনিওয়ে respected Professor Mujumdar, President IPHE, meeting him after a long time. Dr. K.M. Agarwal, also meeting him after quite some time. And Dr. Chaudhuri, whom probably I met last year for a small time. And the eminent office bearers of the IPHE, the members of IPHE, and one of my colleague from Pollution Control Board, Dr. Tapash Gupta. Good evening to you all. Look, the climate that we observe basically right now are, what should I say, we observe a linearity in between the dosage and the response, that the warming and its effects, right? The extreme events that are happening, the precipitation that are intensifying, or the drought events that are happening, these are more or less linearly related. But this is not the all that is likely to happen. I would emphasize to this August gathering a more dangerous scenario that can unfold, and that has unfolded many times in the past, including the lifetime of our species, that is the human being. There are so many examples, but I will focus on 3 examples to illustrate how these things, the so-called abrupt climate changes, as we call them, really happened in the past, and why they are relevant to us right now. Okay, so the first example and the most studied example is called Younger Dryas. You probably have heard the name. Younger Dryas happened between 13,000 years to, it started 13,000 years back, and continued till 11,000 years back, a span of almost 2,000 years. And it happened due to a shutting down of thermohaline circulation. You are engineers and probably know the thermohaline circulation or the meridional overturning circulation, but in case somebody doesn't know, I just introduce you to the concept. It is the major conveyor belt for the transport of heat on Earth. The conveyor belt basically transport heat from the tropical region as a surface flow on the ocean, and it mixes with the polar glacial water near the North Atlantic, and there it becomes denser and goes deep in the ocean, carrying along with it the oxygen, the nutrients, and all the things for the creatures that live underneath. And in the as a basal flow, as a flow almost parallel to the bottom of the oceans, it again comes back to the tropical region. So this is the conveyor belt. As a surface flow, it carries the heat. So this is the main engine that drives the climate of the world and determines the precipitation pattern all over the world, determines the temperature, the climate in a regional scale. Now, what happened during the Younger Dryas? During the Younger Dryas, there was accelerated melting of the fresh water in the polar region, in the North Pole region. That is the North Atlantic ice cap. It really melted very fast and a lot of fresh water became available. As a result of this fresh water availability, the salinity of this thermohaline circulation really decreased. And as the salinity decreased, it no longer was able to go down as a downwelling circulation. And what happened because of that? Because of that, the heat became trapped in the tropical region and the northern part become colder and colder. So the area that we see, the areas like Western Europe, the Holland, the England, France, and these areas, those areas witnessed a drastic cold temperature. That is, the climate of that area decreased by 8 degrees Celsius during that region. And it continued for 2000 years. And that was a disaster. And not only this thing happened during that thermohaline circulation, there was widespread disruption of rainfall in the southern hemisphere. There was widespread disruption of rainfall in the Asia and the like. So this is one event, and I will tell you again in later of my speech that how this thermohaline circulation is likely to affect us now. It is already weakening. Ladies and gentlemen, it is already weakening as we speak now, and we do not know when it may or may not set off. Okay. The second thing that I emphasize is the DO cycle. You probably heard about Dansgaard-Inchurch cycle that really regulate the climate on a larger time scale. But one such event happened around 8,600 years back. During those events, what happened? There was a glacial lake, name was Agassiz Glacier in the northern hemisphere, and it abruptly drained. This kind of draining, small draining are happening right now, here and there. It emptied so much of fresh water into the, again, Atlantic, that the weather of the area changed. And the weather, that changed weather remained for 200 years. So, this again happened during our lifetime. 13,000 years back, it was the time when human was really transforming from hunter-gatherer to settled agriculture. That is when the Younger Dryas happened. 8,003 years back is the time when we have become so-called civilized sufficiently. The this event happened during this time. And the bigger event that I am drawing your attention to happened during the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum. During that is around 58 million years back. During that time, a large quantity of methane hydrate outgassed from the sea floor, releasing huge amount of GHGs into the atmosphere and raising the temperature temporarily by in different areas between 6 to 10 degrees Celsius. So these things happen, and these things do happen regularly. But unfortunately, in the past, these things were happening because of the geological reasons. These were geological reason-driven things. Now, it is not the geology, but the human beings who are causing this kind of thing. Now, if you really ask me, how much of these old things are really relevant now? No, the unfortunate and the painful thing is there are many drivers operating right now which scientists have identified that can cause the abrupt climate changes. I am not here to scare you, but these are realities, and some of the realities may manifest during the time of our own or the time of our children or grandchildren, right? In the climate, the beauty is the uncertainty. You cannot say that it will happen tomorrow. That the setting of thermohaline circulation is, I will start with that. Setting of thermohaline circulation is one of the probability. It is weakening. That is, the lesser and lesser amount of water is downwelling at the North Atlantic, and this is a matter of worry. Okay, and the dosage and unfortunately there is a threshold point at which the thermohaline circulation stops, and we do not know when that threshold point will be reached. Right? Threshold point is that when the water will no longer be saline enough to be heavy enough to downwell in the North Atlantic. That is the setup point. And what happens when it sets off? The northern hemisphere become very, very cold, particularly the Europe. If you remember right now, in the same latitude, if you compare the northern Canada and the England, they are in the same latitude, but the temperature difference is huge. Northern Canada is almost inhospitable, so cold. But Europe, the Western Europe is very much livable place. Why it is? It is because of the heat that is released by the thermohaline circulation in the Northern Atlantic, right? And if this thing stops, then this heat transport will be accumulating in the tropical regions, that is our region, disrupting the environment in our region, and the areas in the North Atlantic, that is the Northern America and the Western Europe, that will be as cold as hell, right? Unfortunately, this doesn't continue. Fortunately, rather, or unfortunately, I do not know how to describe it. It doesn't continue like that. 2,000, 3,000 years after, it again starts like a jack start. That is, that you jack start your engine, the thermohaline circulation starts again. Okay, because of the accumulation of the heat and the temperature, the engine starts again, and it starts with a bang, right? So again, disrupting the world temperature. So this thing, I tell you, if you search the research papers right now, this is a distinct possibility. The scientists only don't know whether it will happen within 10 years or 200 years or 2,000 years. Okay. So this is one of the abrupt climate change possibility that we are facing now, and probably the possibility that we should be most concerned about. Second trigger that may drive climate change, we all know, is the change in sea ice level. Sea ice in the northern pole really reflect a lot of sunlight. You know, the albedo is such that only 6% of the heat is absorbed in the ice, but when the ice melts into water, between 60 to 70% of the heat is absorbed by that. So what happens as the ice disappears, and mind you, it is disappearing at a huge rate, like 1.5 trillion per decade since 1990s, almost 56% higher than it used to be before 1990s. So it is disappearing at a huge rate, and this disappearance is really self-propelling. As it disappears, it absorbs more heat, triggering more melting, and more melting again lead to more warming. So this kind of cycle is really playing a havoc in the northern hemisphere, in the polar region, particularly with respect to sea ice. And this may lead to some disaster. When and how, we do not know right now. The permafrost melt, I didn't bring the figures. It is also a reason for worry. The permafrost is probably in the northern hemisphere, almost 30% of the within the Arctic Circle region, and permafrost harbor a huge amount of methanes. You know, these methanes are relics of our last ice age, when they were really trapped there, the carbons were trapped there and remained as such. Now with the warming and the and the melting of the permafrost, this methane is being released. The permafrost methane, either if it is a oxygen bearing surface of the permafrost, oxygen facing surface of the permafrost, then it is better, because the carbon is being released as carbon dioxide. But if it is being released from under the lakes, permafrost lakes, then it is releasing as a methane. And you know, methane is 25 times more, has more global warming potential than the carbon dioxide. So this thing is again self-propelling. The more methane emits, it warms, and more it warms, it melts the permafrost more. So these things really trigger its self-warming thing. And the last thing that we do not know how to track is the sudden glacial meltdown in certain areas. We see sometimes in National Geographic or some channels that huge chunk of ice is breaking off and melting. And look, this does not only raise the seawater level, this also really releases huge amount of fresh water in an otherwise saline environment, changing the biodiversity of the local area, and more importantly, the density of the water, right? And disrupting so many ocean flows that is occurring in the local region, thereby triggering the climate changes. So I told you about 4 possible areas of abrupt climate change that can happen anytime now, but we do not know whether it will happen now or it will happen 2,000, 5,000, 7,000 years after. And what would be the scale of its impact, right? An event of the thermohaline circulation stoppage really affects the entire globe. For example, if thermohaline circulation stops now, and God forbid, it should not happen. If it happens, then there will be huge drying of the South America. There will be a hugely erratic rainfall in the Asia. The monsoon that we know, Asian monsoon as well as the African monsoon, both will be disrupted. There will be a huge cooling in the areas, as I told you, the Canada, northern United States, and the Western Europe and areas like that. But we do not know, and we are blissfully ignorant of it. Coming to our own home, I'll tell you, you engineers will appreciate it better than me. You probably, those who are interested in climate change, probably have read two seminal papers that came on wet bulb temperature crossing the 35 degrees Celsius. One was from the IIT and, MIT, and the other was published somewhere from England. I do not remember which university it was, probably Cambridge or somewhere. If you can search the papers, you can get it in Google Scholar. I read it from there only. Both the papers point to a uncertain or what should I say, comfortable future of the Gangetic Plains as well as the Indus Plains. What is, I will go to the biology first. Now, why do we, how we are able to maintain a static temperature? We generate heat inside our body. That heat comes out as a capillary flow, and we perspire, means we lose heat two ways. One is evaporative loss through perspiration, and the other maybe, I do not know, maybe when air touches it carries some heat from the surface also, maybe. So that kind of heat loss are taking place from our body, and we are able to keep our temperature in a constant. And that is very important, because then if it is not within a very narrow range of the temperature, it shuts off. So it is very essential that we are able to maintain a crucial our body temperature in a crucial range. Now, what is happening here? Now, in order to maintain our temperature in that range, we need to lose heat in the form of evapotranspiration. That is the evaporative loss from the from our body, and we sweat, and the sweat needs to be evaporated. Now, when sweat will not be evaporated, if there are 100% moisture in the atmosphere, then there will be no evaporation. Now, you imagine a wet bulb temperature of 35 degrees Celsius. You can, as you know, you can reduce any temperature and moisture level to a dew point, right? So, a temperature, for example, today might be say 32 degrees Celsius, and humidity might be around 70%. The corresponding wet bulb temperature may be around 28 or 29. So it's okay for us. We can lose heat in this kind of scenario. But when the wet bulb temperature of this region reaches 35 degrees Celsius, there is no way a human being can lose heat from its body other than going into an air conditioner. If we fan our body, no chance. If we go to the shade, no chance, because wet bulb temperature has reached 35 degrees Celsius, and that is the point when the external temperature and our body temperature is in equilibrium, and the outer environment is saturated with water, and there is no chance of evaporation, evaporative loss. So imagine such a scenario where this can happen. It can happen in areas where there is already huge kind of moisture in the atmosphere and where the temperatures are increasing. The scientists, through modeling, identified these two areas as candidates, that is the Pakistan's Indus Valley and the Gangetic Plain in India, as the potential areas where this kind of thing can happen. Well, I should not say what the projections they did when these areas will be uninhabitable. These are too discomforting for us. Let us not go into that. But when my son told me, why don't we invest in a better house, I said, probably we will not live here long. Okay. No. Bad thing so far. Let us discuss what the world has done very recently. and where the world is heading. And the picture is not so gloom, I must say. I want to tell you I see the political or it's political, the nation level starting point in the climate or scenario. I can trace it back to Paris Accord. Before that, it was all blah, blah, blah. All they did were sweet talks, big talks, and nothing really happened. In the Paris conference 2015, it was the time when the head of states gathered and they realized that compared to the pre-industrial climate, the world has already warmed by 1 degree Celsius, and it is huge. Then the bell started ringing, and they really agreed on certain things that they proposed to do, and surprise, surprise, they did it. It's not that they achieved all the targets. We are far from achieving those targets, but we did certain things in right direction. Let me point out those positive things first. Dr. Chaudhuri before me, he pointed out the progress in solar. Indeed, progress in solar in the last 1 decade is really great. Solar and wind combined way has grown by 140% during the last decades. Low emission sources, that is these kind of sources, now generate around 40% of the global energy. And you know, energy is the main thing that drives our lifestyle, and also the mainly responsible for the warming. How India is doing now? There is a catch here. 52.3% of India's installed capacity, power generation capacity, is solar and wind. But we only produce 29.2% of our power from the renewables. So the entire installed capacity is not operational, right? So installed capacity, when it becomes operational, then we will largely decarbonize our power generation, because installed capacity is 52.3%, and we are adding more and more solar every year. As Dr. Chaudhuri said, there is no point really opening up new mines in a big way, because under the pressure of the world, we may not be able to utilize those coals and oils and gases for a very long time. Right? The pressure on humanity, the pressure of the other countries will be so large that we may not be able to use the carbon fuel sources for a pretty long time. This is the reality. And also we need to remember that 1 out of every 6 individuals on earth is an Indian. So if we keep on emitting more and more carbon dioxide, whom we are trying to really kill? Us, right? Electric vehicles, at 2015, it was 0.5 million. Now it is 17.5 million per year. There were no net zero emission commitment in 2015. Now 83% of the global economy has committed to net zero emission. Certain countries like European Union, United States, New Zealand, these kind of countries, they have committed to net zero by 2050. Very good. China, Saudi Arabia, they have committed to net zero. I do not know how Saudi Arabia will achieve it, but anyway, Saudi Arabia and China has committed net zero by 2060. India has committed net zero, I'm sorry to say, by 2070. It's pretty late. By then, most of the world will be different from the world as we see it. Carbon intensity of, net zero thing is, right? Net zero doesn't mean there will be zero emission. There will be emission, but as he already said, but the emission will be absorbed by our carbon sinks. So net thing will be zero. Carbon intensity of GDP is a very good measure of how much carbon decarbonizing our economy is happening. And I'm really happy to say in the last 20 years, the carbon intensity of GDP means for production of an additional dollar, how many kilos of carbon dioxide you emit into the air. So this has fallen by 20% in the last 1 decade. I will give you a few figures of carbon intensity. India's carbon intensity is 0.27 kg. That for production of GDP of $1 equivalent, we release 0.27 kg of carbon dioxide. China, Russia, they release around half kg, much more than, almost double than us. But France and UK, they release only 0.1 kg of carbon dioxide per dollar. So there is huge scope of improvement of decarbonizing our economy. I have taken enough time. I would like to say that despite what I said, the good things, the good progress that I said, and I believe that this progress will continue in future. Right now, the situation right now is not comfortable enough. If we leave the earth at the present state, then what will happen? I will summarize in 1 or 2 sentences, then I will leave the floor. In 2015, the earth was 1 degree warmer than the pre-industrial period. Today, I checked it online. Today, the earth is warmer by 1.3468 degree warmer. So in last 1 decade, it has warmed by 0.3468. Huge warming in just 1 decade. This 1 degree warming happened in 250 years from Industrial Revolution till 2015, and from 2015 till today, it warmed by 0.3468 degrees. At this rate, we'll touch the 1.5 degree mark that we gave ourselves in Paris Accord. That is, the target was 1.5 degrees Celsius. At this rate, we'll reach that target in 4 years and 6 months only. The climate clock is ticking. But you know that we all are projecting our emission scenarios to 2100, and by 2100, in 2015 scenario, the emission level was such in 2015 that 2100 scenario was that the earth was heading to 3.8 degrees Celsius warmer world, and now the earth is heading to a world of 2.5 to 2.9 degrees Celsius warming. Much less, isn't it? But we need to do a lot, and a lot first. Right? With that, I conclude my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Younger Dryas, IPHE. Nicely covered all the entire climate action related policies as our team speaker. Now I request Professor Aruna Mujumdar to give his presidential address, President of IPHE. Respected Professor
K. Agarwal, Dr. Deval Roy, Engineer Tarun Dotto, Engineer Ashish Dr. Chaudhuri, IPHE corporate members, invitees, guests, and friends. This year, World Environment Day theme is inspired by nature for climate for our future. We are experiencing global warming and climate change. The situation in some places becoming terrific in the sense that the temperature is 42 degrees centigrade, feeling like 52 degrees centigrade. Cities and town unbearable. Urbanization, heat island effect, these are all creating problems. But we are committed that we have to go in for non-conventional energy. India's total installed power generation capacity stands as 520 gigawatt. Now, in a major shift, non-fossil fuel sources, that is renewable and nuclear, now accounts for about 52% of the total installed capacity in the country, achieving the government's clean energy target ahead of schedule. So Government of India's the policy said that we have to go in for clean energy, and we find we are proceeding in that direction. However, coal remain primarily contributor to real-time daily power generation, as Dr. Deval Rai mentioned about this particular fact, that we have to still depend upon the thermal power plant. Fossil fuel sources, if we look into, our coal and lignite generates 43.8% of the power, which is amounting to 2,27,830 megawatt. And gas and diesel, that generates only 4% of our power, that is 20,711 megawatt. But non-fossil fuel sources, that is roughly 52.3% now. Solar, that is huge, 27%, that is roughly 1,40,602 megawatt. This is the fastest growing segment, seeing massive multi-gigawatt addition in recent time. Large hydropower, 9.8%, that is 51,165 megawatt. This is helpful for the grid balancing and peak demand. Wind energy, 10.5%, 54,650 megawatt. But this is concentrated heavily in the states of Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. Nuclear power is only 1.7% today in India, which is amounting to 8,780 megawatt. This is operated by Nuclear Power Corporation of India. Biomass and waste to energy. This is roughly 11,614 megawatt, that is only 2.3%. This includes urban waste burning as well as bagasse cogeneration. Now, if we look into this particular aspect, hopeful that we will go in more for the solar energy. Now, application of the solar energy we find in our sector, that is wash sector, water, sanitation, wastewater management sector, we are using solar energy. Our water plants, mini water plants are now running with solar energy, that is solar pump. So many electric pumps have been converted into solar pump. With respect to sewage treatment system, we are also depending now on solar energy. Government of India, Namami Gange has directed that every sewage treatment plant must have unit for generation of solar energy. So maybe we are generating small amount today. We are targeting more, maybe 200 kilowatt, 400 kilowatt like that. But hopefully we will be going for more. In Prayagraj, that is Naini sewage treatment plant, we find they are generating 833 kilowatt of solar energy, which is roughly 50% of the requirement of running the sewage treatment plant. But one thing I like to mention, as an environmentalist working in the arena of water and sanitation and wastewater management, we like to have nature-based technology. For sewage treatment, we are advocating for nature-based technology, both for the urban as well as rural. Calcutta metropolitan area is privileged to have nature-based treatment system. Roughly about 1,200 million litre of sewage is getting treated. 910 in East Kolkata Wetlands, and we have 11 waste stabilization ponds working in Kolkata metropolitan area. They are consuming zero energy. We have 3 aerated lagoon working, but that requires a very little energy for running. So therefore, you will find that almost 40 to 45% of our sewage of Calcutta metropolitan area, we are not using electricity for running the treatment system. One issue I like to mention that very many treatment systems that we are now adopting for the treatment of wastewater, like duckweed pond. We are now adopting constructed wetland for the treatment of wastewater, but in a decentralized mode. That is for the urban as well as rural. Under Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin, we are addressing ODF plus, that is open defecation free plus. That is solid and liquid waste management, where we are recommending nature-based technology, like constructed wetland. This could be vertical, this could be horizontal. Many small units have been installed in West Bengal also. So we are hopeful that we can install more number of constructed wetland. In fecal sludge treatment system or septage treatment plant, we are using constructed wetland. We are also installing anaerobic baffle reactor, no energy requirement. Anaerobic filter, no energy requirement. So this we are targeting. It is true that parallelly we are using high technologies because of non-availability of that. When we are talking about this nature-based technologies, people are asking for how you are overcoming the situation if you have no land. It is true. It is true. But in West Bengal also in past, in 90s, we installed more than 10 waste separation pond at that time, acquiring land. So therefore, these are very important issues that also need to be considered with respect to our developmental work. Another important issue I like to mention about one project that we recommended from Ministry of Science and Technology from our group, that is air water generator. That is generating water from the humidity, that is moisture in the air. So if the humidity is higher, we generate a good amount of water. 1,000 liter per day capacity, 2 plants have been installed by Jain University near Bangalore. Really it is installed in Devanhalli near Bangalore. I visited that. I have seen that they are using 100% solar energy. So it is solar energy based unit. So such type of applications are coming up, and we feel that we can go in more for non-conventional energy. Finally, I'd like to mention the community involvement with respect to greenery development. we are experiencing Calcutta. We people are experiencing in Calcutta horrible time, especially South Calcutta, Central Calcutta, North Calcutta. But one example I like to mention about the Patuli, where the greeneries have been developed by the participation of local people and especially senior citizens, and also the communities, the gated communities. Thereby, they have planted many types of trees, fruit, flower. The biodiversity has been enriched. টেম্পারেচার, সেখানে আপনার টেম্পারেচারটা দেখা হয়েছে। আমি আপনাদের বলি, কলকাতায় যখন টেম্পারেচার 39 ডিগ্রি সেন্টিগ্রেড, ওই জায়গায় টেম্পারেচার 35 ডিগ্রি, 4 ডিগ্রি সেন্টিগ্রেডের তফাৎ। ওয়াটার বডি সেখানে মেনটেন হচ্ছে। অ্যাম্বিয়েন্ট এয়ার কোয়ালিটি PM 2.5, PM10 25 থেকে 30% কম, যেটা কলকাতায় তখন। এয়ার কোয়ালিটি ইন্ডেক্সও আপনি দেখবেন কোয়ালিটি ইমপ্রুভ করেছে। বক্তব্যটা হচ্ছে যে প্রতিটা ওয়ার্ডে যদি সাধারণ মানুষ এগিয়ে আসেন, পিস অফ ল্যান্ডকে গ্রিনারি করে ডেভেলপমেন্ট করেন, আমাদের ধারণা তাতে অনেকটা রিলিফ হবে। আর এটা কার্বন সিকুয়েস্ট্রেশনে কাজ করবে, কার্বন সিঙ্ক হিসেবে কাজ করবে ওয়াটার বডি। আর আমি ওয়েস্ট ডেভিয়েশন পন্ডের কথা বলছিলাম, একটা 22 মিলিয়ন ওয়েস্ট ডেভিয়েশন পন্ড আছে কানাইপুর, যেটা ট্রিটমেন্ট করে আপনার উত্তরপাড়া আর গোমনগরের জল। 22 মিলিয়ন লিটার পার ডে। আপনি সেখানে যাবেন, বিরাট বিরাট পন্ড, সেখানকার টেম্পারেচার রিয়েলি ডাউন। আপনার অত্যন্ত ভালো লাগবে অন্তত যদি 2-3 ঘন্টা ওখানে বসেন বা 4 ঘন্টা বসেন। এই গরমেও ইউ গেট রিলিফ। এক বিন্দু ইলেকট্রিসিটি লাগে না সুয়েজ ট্রিটমেন্ট প্লান্ট চালাতে। আশা করি আজকের আলোচনা আপনাদের ভালো লেগেছে। ইনস্টিটিউশন অফ পাবলিক হেলথ ইঞ্জিনিয়ার্স ইন্ডিয়ার পক্ষ থেকে এবং আমাদের এই কলকাতা সেন্টার ইনস্টিটিউশন অফ পাবলিক হেলথের পক্ষ থেকে আপনাদেরকে অশেষ ধন্যবাদ জানাই। নমস্কার।
ধন্যবাদ প্রফেসর মজুমদার। সুন্দরভাবে উনি ব্যক্ত করলেন বিভিন্ন ইস্যু, যেটা আজকে খুবই চ্যালেঞ্জিং ব্যাপার। তো আমরা শেষ পর্বে পৌঁছে গেছি। Now I request Ashish Datta Chaudhuri to offer a vote of thanks.
Thank you all for patiently listening. Last 2 hours were very useful and informative lectures from various distinguished dignitaries who have presence over here. So I first will give the thanks to Dr. S.P. Chaudhuri. He has explained the use of renewable energy sources and how it could clean and very livable stage of the environment. Then I will thank to Dr. Vishwajit Mukherjee, who has explained the history of the theme of the World Environment Day, followed by our Secretary Council, IPHE Council Secretary Tarun Datto, who explained the objective of celebrations of World Environment Day. Then followed by thanks to Dr. K.M. Agarwal. He has highlighted and just give some touch on temperature rise in throughout of the country, and then also showed also give some hints the change of the lifestyle based on the circular economy, that is the zero waste emission. Then our another distinguished dignitary, Sri Devil Rai, IFS, former Principal Secretary, Department of Forest, Government of West Bengal, and the main things he touched, that is the how rise of temperature taken place, that is the abrupt changing of the climate with the natural process and also geographical reasons, and the four possible ways he also narrated for abrupt change of climate in his lecture. Then last our speaker, our president, IPHE India, Professor Arunabha Majumdar, and he also emphasized clean energy and giving the relative comparative picture of the fossil the fuels and the non-conventional sources, and also the nature-based technology for sewage treatment, and giving some that the things which is happening in our surrounding Kolkata region, how nature-based technology for sewage treatment taking place, and to save the energy of that. So I thanks all the dignitaries and also the distinguished our members and the others, those who are present in the audience chair. So thank you all of you, and we are concluding our World Environment Day today. Thank you all of you.
ধন্যবাদ আশিস। আমি পরিশেষে একটা ছোট্ট অনুরোধ করবো আমাদের সদস্যদের কাছে, আমাদের আইপিএইচই অনুষ্ঠানে, যে কোনো অনুষ্ঠানে আমরা কিন্তু স্বতঃস্ফূর্তভাবে সবাইকে ইনভাইট করি। তো যারা যারা আসে ভালো লাগে, কিছু পুরনো লোকজন, সিনিয়র লোকজন আসে। রিসেন্টলি দেখা যাচ্ছে যে আমাদের ইয়ং কিছু মেম্বার, যেমন ভিক্টর বা এরকম অনেকেই এরকম আপনার রেগুলার আসছে। আমার বক্তব্য হচ্ছে যারা হয়তো গ্রুপে নেই বা এরকম হতে পারে, তো তাদের বন্ধু বা কোনো মেম্বার সদস্য থাকলে তাকেও জানাবেন যে এই প্রোগ্রামগুলো অ্যাটেন্ড করার জন্য। আগামী 27শে জুন সম্ভবত আমাদের আইপিএইচই কলকাতা সেন্টারের অ্যানুয়াল জেনারেল মিটিং, গ্রুপের সব জায়গায় জানানো আছে, অনেকে কনফার্ম করেছে। এর সঙ্গে অ্যাডিশনালি বলা যে আরো পরিচিত দু একজন মেম্বার থাকবে তাদেরকে জানাবেন। ধন্যবাদ সকলকে জানিয়ে আমাদের তরফ থেকে আজকের অনুষ্ঠানের এখানেই সমাপ্তি ঘোষণা। ছোট্ট একটু মিষ্টিমুখের ব্যবস্থা আছে, যাওয়ার সময়। লোক পাকতে হবে, একদম হচ্ছে না, লোক পাওয়াতে হবে।